Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Talking Cafe. It's Wednesday, the 14th of April, and today's Talking Cafe is about Story Massage, and I'm lucky to be joined today by one of the founders of Story Massage UK, Sandra Hooper. We were going to run this program back in February, but there were some tech issues, so we just did a mini introduction to Story Massage, and Sandra's here today to tell you more about Story Massage and about the organisation and all the lovely work they do. And we've got two lovely agents and their lovely children. So we've got Kim and Joseph and Ruby and Toby. Hi! And they're here as well to demonstrate some Story Massages, so you can do it along at home. And if you're at home with your children or your grandchildren or you're with other adults, it's a lovely thing to do. So you can take part today if you want to. And I'm Melanie Kelly, by the way, community agent for East Mendip. So I hope you enjoyed today's Talking Cafe. And I'll just hand you over to Sandra, who will take it from here. So hi, Sandra. How are you? Good to have you on at last. We finally got you on.
And thank you for stepping in last time when the tech issues meant I couldn't join you. So at least for some of you, maybe, you've had a bit of an experience of it. I know Joseph and Toby had a go, so they're going to be well equipped to demonstrate and join us this time. Just a little bit of an intro for those of you that haven't heard about the programme and don't know what it is. It's a very simple, easily accessible activity that involves combining stories, rhymes and songs with a positive touch. And I think often that's quite a difficult thing to get your head around. So one of the ways we often just suggest thinking about it is the round and round the garden that I don't know if any of you used to do either with your children or as children. And it's that rhyme, round and round the garden, and then it goes on like a teddy bear, one step, two steps. And that's a very simple way of showing you how we can combine words and massage strokes. So I think without sort of any further ado, what I'd like to do is just bring Joseph and Toby and their mums in. And we're going to start by doing something that is often considered to be just for babies and young people, but I'm going to show you a presentation later that will give you an idea of actually quite how widely this is being used. And it's often used in the recall of memories for people who may be living with dementia. So it's one of those things that we often say is a bit like those games where the age range is from 0 to 99. Story massage is an activity that you can do from babies right through life. So we'll start with this Hickory Dickory Dock. Toby's going to do it on Kermit, and Ruby will do it on Toby. Kim's going to do it on Joseph, and we've sent Joseph's dog out for a walk because although it's fine to do it with pets, it's probably not a great thing to do with a young puppy who hasn't had any experience of it before. So we're going to do Hickory Dickory Dock, and we're going to use 3 of the 10 strokes. The programme is made up of 10 strokes, very simple strokes, and each, if you look at this behind me, each single stroke has a symbol to help you see what it's about and a name. So I will refer to them by name and I will demonstrate so that you can all see. So, but before any of that, the most important and integral part of the Story Massage programme is that any touch is given only with permission. So, Ruby and Kim, if you could ask Joseph and Toby whether they would like to have a story massage.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you want to come off mute now, Kim and Joseph and Ruby and Toby, so we can hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you okay if I do the massage on you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And I can't express enough that is a really important aspect of the programme because it's about everybody understanding the importance of consent and how touch is something that the person receiving it must always have a say in. So
it gives a choice as well. Yeah.
Sorry?
It gives a choice. It shows them they have a choice. Yeah. So,
And that's one of the things we talk about when we train, and in the book, there are ways of getting consent if you maybe are working with somebody who's non-verbal. But for now, we have the verbal consent of Joseph and Toby, and we're going to do Hickory Dickory Dock, and we're going to start with the stroke that's called the bounce. Joseph, if you want to do it in the air, because I know you've done a little bit of this before, that's fine, but otherwise, just enjoy. So the bounce is simply what you might imagine it to be, which is placing your fingers on the back and then just bouncing off, drawing the fingers together and bouncing off, and one after the other.
You can do that in the air if you wanted.
All over the back.
And
this is Hickory Dickory Dock. We're going to do it again, Hickory Dickory Dock. And then we're going to move on to the mouse. Now, the mouse, we're going to illustrate by the sprinkle stroke. And that's literally sprinkling your fingers all over. But because what we're doing is talking about the mouse running up the clock, we're going to sprinkle up. So the mouse ran up the clock. Who wants to give me the next line? Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The mouse ran down. So we sprinkle down.
The clock struck one. The clock struck one.
Oh, did I miss out the clock struck one? Okay, so the clock struck one. Let's draw a clock, a circle. That's because I'm nervous. I'm not used to doing this. So the clock, with your hand on the shoulder, just so that you keep your connection and balance, draw a nice circle. The clock struck one, and then we can go back to the sprinkle. The mouse ran down, and then Hickory Dickory Dock. We go back to the bounce. Has Kermit enjoyed that? Now, at the end of any story or rhyme, the person who's given the story massage is going to thank, in this case, Joseph and Toby, for letting them give them a story massage. And that completes the activity in the sense that we've asked permission and then we've thanked them for letting us give them a story massage.
Thank you.
So, how did that feel?
Oh, sorry. Ruby and Toby are still on mute. Do you want to come off mute so you can have a chat with Sandra?
I muted a second ago because he was very giggly and I just wanted to come over.
So, okay. Starting with Joseph, how did that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good?
Nice, yeah.
Good. And Toby,
How did that
did you like that?
What did you like about it? The mouse ran down.
Obviously, yeah. Okay, so that gives you, and hopefully anyone watching, a little idea of what the activity is. It's that combination of a touch, a positive touch, a respectful touch, tied into familiar words. They might be about an event that's happening. They might be about an emotion that is being experienced. They might just be a story. So there are lots of different ways of using our 10 strokes to create the activity. And I was thinking this week, we had an article that Mary, my partner in Story Massage, wrote for a magazine called Parenta. And if anyone listening is interested in knowing just a little bit more about it and what it does, I think Julie's going to post a link in the chat. So do go and have a look at that if you'd like to know a little bit more. But what I'd like to do now is just show you a presentation of the many, many different places that Story Massage is being used. Because whilst it's lovely to use in the home, and I think Joseph might have experienced it at his school, there are lots of places and lots of ways that this as an activity can be used.
Yeah.
So, Mel, have you got anything you want to add there? Or
Yeah, no, we'll maybe talk a bit more after the presentation, but I'm trained with you and Mary as a story massage instructor as well, so I know quite a bit about this, and I've had a lot of experience in different settings, so we'll maybe discuss that a little bit more after. So Kim and Joseph and Ruby and Toby are just going to leave while you do the presentation, and then they'll be joining us again after for some more demonstrations as well.
will they be able to see the presentation?
Yeah, you can still see it, can't you? Yeah.
Right. So what I'd like to ask Joseph and Toby to have a look and see whether there are any points, any pictures in the presentation that are similar to maybe where they think they might like to do it or have already done it. And then we're going to do a story afterwards that I think is suitable for all ages. And yeah, so we'll do that after we've had a look at the photos.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So we'll see you you all in a little while. Okay, so enjoy watching backstage. Right. So right, so I'm gonna set up so that we can do your presentation when you're ready to.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So how do we get into the presentation, Mel?
Just go to the share and
share. Okay.
At the bottom, yeah, and you should have it. Then you should be able to share it, and then it should come up in the right format on the screen.
Share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I think so.
It's the joys of technology.
It's taking a moment.
That's okay.
Right. So, share. When it says it wants to share the contents of your screen, and is it the application window or the entire screen?
Entire screen, I would do if that's all the presentation on for that. Yeah. It worked all right in rehearsals, didn't it?
Yeah, so, it did, but it's not giving. It's
always the way when you're live.
Yeah.
That's okay. Would you like me to? I know that we said you would share it because you can decide then when you go on. But
well, if you can share it, then I can just talk as you click through. So.
Okay. Just bear with me now. You can just, yeah. We'll get this on in a second, everybody that's watching at home. And don't forget, if you've got any comments, just post them in the comment box and we'll get back to you either now or afterwards. You can watch this on catch up, obviously. So if you're watching later, do make your comments and we'll get back to you. I'm just going to, okay.
Great.
All right. So, are you okay with that then?
Yep. Well, we can see it, so that's good.
Yeah.
So if you want to just move through to the next slide, Mel.
Yeah, just bear with me. It's not working, sorry. There you go.
There we are. So this is just going to take us through where this is actually story massage being shared with mums and their youngsters in Mexico. So if we just keep going, and then I'll just raise my hand if you can pause. That's it being used at home here with a mum and her two daughters, again at home. with babies, which are the lower end. Keep going. Now that's siblings doing it. So I don't know if you've got school holidays going on and you've got more than one at home. This is an activity that siblings can really enjoy together. So try some nursery rhymes if you've got youngsters at home, and see how it goes. Now this, again, this is on holiday, so it's not always at home. This is actually two sisters doing it in a caravan while they're away on holiday. And since I think a lot of us are going to be holidaying around the UK and possibly in caravans or tents, it can be enjoyed in that situation as well.
Yeah.
So Joseph mentioned that he had experienced it at school. I would say just at the moment, we're not entirely sure whether schools are using it. A lot of schools, as you can see, have used it in the past, and hopefully will use it again in the future. So just be aware that it may not happen in schools at this moment or when you go back in a week or so, but it is used in school. Do you want to keep going, Mel?
Yeah, sure.
Again, both primary schools, and I think the next photo is the secondary school. Now, this is a school assembly for year 7, so again, slightly older children. And we were invited in to demonstrate what story massage was, and we did the story that I'm going to do with you when we finish looking at this, which was all about the power of nature, actually, and recovery after the tsunami in Japan. Very first story massage we wrote, and we shared it. And I think staff were not convinced that it was going to be a great success. It wasn't something they'd ever done before. But actually, as you can see, the connection between the students was really strong, and even led to some of those students wanting to communicate with their sort of peers in Japan and comment on life experiences and how it had been, and that they were thinking of them doing the massage strokes in Japan whilst they were doing it here. So it was the first inkling that this was something that could be used much more widely than simply either at home or in the UK. So that was a bit of a turning point for us. If we can keep going.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Sandra, that really highlights as well that there's no limit on the amount of people that can do it in a group.
Yes.
So it's a really big group of children. Yeah.
There were over 300 children in that assembly. So
wow.
Apparently it was absolutely quiet and hushed as they were doing it. So yes, you're right.
Yeah, I've done it with a big group of about 40 or 50 in a school hall before, but not that size. But it is amazing. It's completely quiet, and they really engage. So it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was in small groups, in nurture groups and things like that in school. And the next one, again, this is interesting, again, because it was a young boy who had recently arrived in Hackney, London, from Ghana, and he had no English at all. But he was able to stand up in front of his class and demonstrate the strokes because he didn't need language. So it was a way that he could feel part of the group without
That's wonderful.
English.
That's lovely.
Yeah. I think this was in a primary school in Glasgow where they were doing story massage tied in with the topic they were doing.
Yeah, again, I've done that in schools with a group of children with autism, and they have a book of each term, and I used to do the story massage going by where they were with the story in class, and that really helped them as well. So
I think it's also quite helpful. It's fine to leave that. It's quite helpful when people are not sure what to do massage about. If you've got a topic and can connect to the topic through the massage, you get the benefit of the massage whilst also engaging with the topic. So I think massage, particularly as children get older, they may not necessarily feel comfortable doing it just as massage, but if it's part of a topic related activity, it makes it more accessible.
Absolutely, and we did a number of different stories or songs during each session. But I'd use that book of the term that they were doing for their classwork. I'd use that as well, and it was amazing. They were primary children, and I think I got that was one of the references I got for your records of kind of a case study of how it worked with them. And the teacher said that they often had more words after a session of story massage. Because they wouldn't have very many words, and so it was amazing.
I think it does. It really does support literacy and creativity in a way that it's also fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. So move on. We covered this one.
Move on. There's a lovely little story which might be of interest, which is once you teach story massage, it's something that then can have its own momentum, really. And this was in a reception class in one of our schools in Scotland. And one of the 5-year-olds, I think he was, came in after quite a difficult morning and was very distressed. And one of his peers in the group went up to him and said, "What you really need is a story massage." And she went with him to the reading corner, and he lay down, and she gave him a story massage. There was no teacher involvement, no one else. The teacher just suddenly saw that they were doing a story massage just in the reading corner on the floor. And she asked permission and thanked him at the end. And he did feel that had helped him just calm down a little bit. So it's a really helpful tool for regulating emotions, and particularly difficult emotions.
Yeah, it is brilliant, and it also is good for the person giving the massage as well, isn't it? With touch,
absolutely, it's
as beneficial to the giver as the receiver. It has a effect on chemical reactions in the body. Yeah,
the oxytocin that mums feel when they are nurturing their babies. It's a similar chemical reaction. The oxytocin is all about connection and contact and trust, and so it does have an impact on both giver and receiver.
And that then, as far as from my training, that actually helps to bring down cortisol as well, the stress hormone.
That's right.
So it's sort of beneficial to all around, really. It's just got so much. And I think within the school environments as well, it creates, and they ask him permission, creates. Apologies if you're going to say all this, Sandra, but it's just coming to my mind.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's nice. But it's been proven to reduce bullying in schools, hasn't it, as well?
And there have been conversations in the playground overheard where if the touch has got a bit more than a child might want, the child feels that they can say, actually, I didn't give you permission for that. And have the confidence to express that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it creates, it does create respect and an understanding of boundaries as well. And, and it's also brilliant for bonding. So fantastic.
Okay, so we just moved through these different times at school where it's used. And as we're coming up to summer, and with the sort of lockdown preference for being outside, it's an activity that we can enjoy outside as well as inside.
Yeah. They're lovely pictures.
Yeah. I think this was actually a group of children that had come over from Chernobyl and were with families in Chichester area, something that Mary has been involved with. So again, their language wasn't necessarily, they weren't experiencing it necessarily in their first language, but because they could feel it, they were able to engage with it and enjoy it and do it voluntarily, which is what happened here.
Yeah.
They were waiting in a queue and they were bored, and so they started giving each other massages, which was fantastic.
Like a form of communication.
Yeah.
Because again, I've worked with with a couple of children on one-to-one that had severe cerebral palsy, and they're non-verbal, but the story massage, they absolutely loved it, and yes, it's really, really good. It's like a communication tool in itself, really.
Interestingly, recently, because we've gone online during lockdown, we now have a team of trained practitioners in Singapore who work solely with the Cerebral Palsy Alliance. So that just backs up what you're saying about working with all sorts of abilities and how it can work and does work.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing.
And so, like I think we've said a bit before, all ages, babies, toddlers. Toddlers are sometimes a bit more challenging because they want to move, but we come up with the elderly here. As I think we worked out that the average age of that group was 90, and yet here they were. It was a mix of elderly people with dementia and their carers, but it was giving them the opportunity to share touch in a very positive way. That they necessarily hadn't been able to do before. So, and all with permission and respect.
Yeah, no, it is definitely. But I've worked with a Well Women group as well, so it does. Yeah, they loved it. Going back to toddlers, it is a bit of a challenge with toddlers. I think it's by time, isn't it? I did try toddlers once, but unfortunately, it was in a room with a lot of toys in the corner, so the toys. I'm afraid.
I mean,
but the parents ended up doing it. So, but yeah. So, were you going to say something else about toddlers there, Sandra?
Oh, I just think you're right. I think the timing and the place is really important, and also the willingness just to let go of it if it's not working, because it just you know, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But any time you do manage a connection with it, it plants the seed, and sometimes I think bedtime is a good time to do it with toddlers.
I was going to say bedtime. Yeah.
Okay.
Bedtime, bath time, when they're lying with
telly,
just watching. Yeah, it's brilliant. So you
and
can always
you know, if they are watching telly, you could do a story massage that follows along the story on the telly. It's just about being a little bit creative with how and when and where, but basically, as long as it's respectful and positive, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really it is creativity is key to it as well. It's good fun making up your own story massages as well.
It is, and I think you know, we have a book that has about 30 stories. I can't show you now. I'll show you after we finish this, which is quite a fun way to start, because sometimes the making up of stories doesn't feel easy to start with. It's like you need to just familiarize yourself with the strokes and the rhythm, and using the stories in the book is a fun way of exploring that.
Yes, brilliant book.
People who really want to use it perhaps in their work or more extensively with their own creativity find that coming on the training is helpful, because we do focus an aspect of the training on the creating of your own stories. But there are many ways to enjoy it. Yeah,
there are. It's the creativity side of it is amazing as well. And it's endless, really, what you can do. I always say that.
I'm glad you said that, because we feel it is, and what we found with the community of practitioners that we now have, which is in the thousands, is that they are all using it slightly differently, and so what we gather from that is that it is endless. People take it and use it to suit their work or their family situation, and then they share it back with us, which is great.
Yeah, it's tailor-made to suit anybody. It is brilliant, and I always say, it's endless what you can do with story massage. That's a lovely photo as well.
Yeah, it is.
Bless him. Actually, I was thinking of another class I worked in with severely disabled children at school. One of the children in the class was actually deaf and blind. They were teenagers, and he absolutely loved the story massage. They all did. But the benefit to him was huge, because the sense of touch was one of, probably its most prominent sense. So it was really powerful.
And I think the fact that it can really help with imagination and regulation of emotions, and, like you say, the sensory experiences. And a number of people, I showed a photo of Sophie and Maisie, who have been with the programme from the beginning, and they use lots of sensory props alongside the stories that really build a world that Maisie can enjoy as a result of the story. So, there's lots of possibilities.
Absolutely, and I think with a child, where that sense is a prominent sense as well, it's even the vibration of somebody's voice as well. So you've got a combination of so many things. It's amazing.
We're coming to the end now, but I think it's really fun to see that not only is it being used with all sorts of ages and abilities, but it is actually being shared all around the world, and in different ways. And I think the key to that being possible is the fact that the strokes stay the same throughout the world, but the stories, the language, they can be, they are relevant to the country or the situation. So it makes it very shareable and shareable around the world. And if we just flick through these photos, I think it shows that, and these are just some of the countries that it's being used in at the moment. So we've got Nepal. I think the next one
is transferable, isn't it?
Yes, very transferable. Yeah, Kenya.
They're lovely photos.
Yeah.
Circles.
People send them to us to see.
It's all inclusive.
Yeah. And I think this is the last one, which interestingly is where Story Matters began. And it was the very first story that we created was for the children in Japan following the tsunami, where there was a lot of emotional distress and change and difficult situations. And we designed the story to try and help bridge that difficulty and connect people again and enable people to share experiences. And in many ways, I think it's not unconnected to where we are now in terms of going back into the world after the pandemic. And I think this is something we hope will be supportive for those who are wanting to move forward. So what I thought might be fun is to just do that story with everybody now as a way to end the session, or before we have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the flower one, isn't it? Is it sunflowers? Or I've used that one many times. It's a fabulous story.
You say you use this one? Yeah. I mean,
what's it called again?
The Smiling Flowers massage.
That's it, the Smiling Flowers. It's lovely. I'm just going to add Ruby and Toby and Kim and Jason back on, okay?
So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the Smiling Flowers massage. So, and I'm going to hold up the story because I think it's quite nice to see pictures alongside it. But I'll also, with my hand, do the strokes. And what is interesting is that when we created the story, it was to use all 10 strokes. But because we're just working with 3 strokes today, we can do that too. So we can use a different number of strokes depending on what the situation is. So there's no, you're not forced to do the number of strokes, all of them. You can do the massage with a single stroke. But this one we're going to do with 3. So, Toby and Joseph, you ready?
Do you want to come off mute? Or
yeah?
It's up to you if you prefer to stay.
Yeah. Who's doing it?
And so if we start by asking permission again.
We're doing it to you. Is it okay if I do it to you? Do the massage?
Yeah. Yes, it's all right.
All right. So the very first one we're going to do is the circle. Do you remember how to do the circle? If you look at the picture, this might inspire you anyway. We're going to put one hand on the shoulder and do the circle.
Do you want me to do the strokes for you?
Yes, why not? Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the words for this are the round, round sun rises in the sky. Watch Mel for the strokes. And then, because we're just using the 3 strokes, we're going to use the bounce for this one. And the flowers grow 1, 2, 3. So it won't be quite the same as you're used to using it, Mel, because we're just using the 3 strokes.
I know, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
now we're going to do the sprinkle. But one little flower is very tired. So lots of sprinkles all over the back. Yeah. And just while I'm saying that, I also want to I haven't mentioned this before, but it can be done anywhere on the body, you know, wherever's accessible and appropriate. But for the purposes of today, we're just doing it on the back.
Yeah. And the beauty is that,
so the circle. The sun brings rays of light and hope. And the wind, back to the bounce, sings songs of courage.
Again today.
And now the sprinkle again, because the gentle rain sprinkles the flower with strength.
Okay.
Sprinkles all over. You can go up onto the head if you like.
that's lovely.
And now we're going to do a half circle. So it's just like the circle but plus the half, because we're going to talk about every night the moon watches over the little flower. So it might be just a half circle. And back to the bounce again with the stars twinkling brightly in the darkness. And back to the sprinkle. So the little flower can sleep very peacefully. Tickle.
Like it on your back.
And then we're going to go to the bounce, because the little flower grows taller and taller. You can make your bounce bigger and bigger. Yeah. And the sprinkle, as its buds burst into lots and lots of bright colours. And then it joins all the other flowers in the field. So lots of little circles all over the back. And we're going to go back to the half circle. If you stop and look very carefully, you can see that all the flowers are smiling. Smile and smile. The flowers have become very happy. And then if you'd like to thank Joseph and Toby.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
no, well done, guys. You were brilliant.
And I think it's really lovely just to see the 4 of you there, just what it means having that shared connection through a story and touch. You know, it encourages really nice feelings. So
That's really lovely.
good.
Yeah, when you're busy working and then, you know, you've got your dinner routines, you can often have that touch and that cuddle time.
Absolutely.
When it's bedtime that you remember, I haven't even had a cuddle today.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important to build that in. And if you've got something to do, it helps encourage you to just build that in, I think. Otherwise, we just get swept away, don't we?
Toby's obviously still in learning to read stage. It'd be really good for him to read a story and me to do actions while he's reading the story. I think that would be really good bonding for him to learn and us to join in together.
Fantastic.
It's brilliant for learning, I think, for children. For all of us, but it really does bring on bring on their learning and understanding, and you can use, because it's used in educational ways as well, isn't it? I think your book, I know your book, Sandra, has topics of education in it as well as nursery rhymes.
This is the book, and it is, if anyone's interested, it's available through our website. But as Mel said, there's a section at the back that we call Time for Learning, hands-on learning. And that's really about taking the topics that might be coming up in school and turning them into a short massage story. Yeah. Thereby, oh look, Joseph.
He did ask.
He did ask. Excellent. So maybe this is the time to see whether anyone's got any questions, Mel?
Yeah, I'll just have a look in the comments box, and we've got all, I think we've put, sorry, Julie's kind of working hard behind the scenes, putting up all the links as well for your different resources. I think the website and all the social media channels and training resources. Just going to see what comments we have, just bear with me. So we have a Juliet Wallace. I am newly trained in story massage and itching to contact schools and help people of all ages reconnect, with a smiley face. Yeah. That's lovely. And she's also said, added another comment that she's a massage therapist, so really definitely gets how wonderful this is and helpful. And it will be as we all come out of the isolated times. Yes, it will be, definitely. I agree with that. It really will help to build people back up again, build connections.
I think she makes a good point, Mel, about Zoom, because we have had lots of follow-on sessions and interactive sessions with Zoom where it hasn't been possible to have, face-to-face contact. So it is very much something that can be carried on via Zoom until we are able to be more hands-on.
Yeah, definitely. And that goes as well with, I have a couple of questions for you as well, Sandra, and just so that we can let people watching know even more about the wonderful work you do. But it's, how does somebody get started and the training and everything?
Well, I think in terms of how somebody gets started, it's very simple to just get the book and have a look and have a play. The book incorporates everything, in the sense that we show how the strokes can be done. We give some examples of stories. We talk about the benefits. We offer some guidelines. So that's a very good place to start, and that can be got through the website. In terms of training, if you're wanting to go in and either set up groups as a sort of extension to other activities you do, like baby massage, the training is a great way to do that, and that's all available online now. So people have been training throughout lockdown, as Juliet has, to do the story massage as an instructor. As baby massage instructors and baby yoga instructors. So the training, again, if you go onto the website, there's a page, online training. Just click on that and it'll give you all the options. And if you're in any doubt, just drop us an email at info@storymassage.co.uk. And it's only Mary and I, so you're not sort of going to disappear into a vast organisation. She and I are Story Massage, and we will respond, either one or other of us, to any inquiry that comes through our email.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. You definitely do. I've always been able to get hold of either of you easily, so that's really good. And if somebody wants to become an instructor, do they need to have a background already in some kind of massage or in therapy?
Yes, on the website there is information on how to become an instructor. And because it's when it was done, it was a professional development course, and we don't include guidelines on setting up groups and things like that. We do have prerequisites, like being a baby massage instructor or being a baby yoga instructor, because those courses will have given you that guidance on setting groups up. So I think that there are prerequisites that we list, but that doesn't stop you getting started and you doing the training. doesn't, you can do the training and work in your existing roles for family and groups without being an instructor. It's just sometimes it's having that certificate is required for insurance purposes if you're working in the field of running groups.
Yeah, absolutely, because anybody can train in this and use it in their own personal lives with their own family and friends.
Yeah.
But it's when they're going to be using it in a professional way, then they might need more prerequisites, really.
It's not even just using it in work and professional, because you can do the training and work within your existing profession. So we have special schools using it. It's really about the forming of groups and the running of groups where insurance is requested. That a certificate is sometimes helpful. So, but it's the same training, whichever path you choose to go. But if anyone wants any more information, I would suggest
they contact
an email. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. And are there any do's and don'ts in story massage?
Well, I think the only do's and don'ts relate to the issues of consent and making sure that you always seek consent, and that you do the activity with respect. And in terms of do's and don'ts, just do, but do with care and respect. And
I would always say don't go hard on this. Sorry?
It's not like massage therapy where there are contraindications. I was
going to ask about contraindications as well.
It was quite a difficult thing to come up with a title, because it's much more than story, and it's not really massage as many people understand it. But a title that called itself Stories, Rhymes and Poems for Positive Touch doesn't, you lose people along the way. So we created the story massage program, and then people use it in all these different ways. But the key is respect and consent, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only don'ts I usually say when I'm teaching or when I've taught in the past is to avoid the spine, or not avoid it completely, but don't do anything hard like drumming on the spine, for instance. Things like that are just, but health-wise, I don't think you don't even really need permission if you've got a health issue, do you? Like you would with massage or anything.
The permission is about the involvement, not about any medical condition, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to get GP consent if you've got a health issue, really. Unless you felt you needed to, you could ask, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll always err on the side of caution. If you want to do an activity and you're not sure, check out. As always, you would anything, really.
Yeah. Absolutely, but it's relatively safe. But if there is anybody out there with health issues or working with children with any health issues, and you aren't sure whether it's something that might trigger something in that person, then or affect their health, then just double check with your specialist or GP, really.
Yeah.
But it's pretty safe. It's pretty safe, isn't it, story massage? And it's just
if you think about it, we all touch and cuddle and care for physically. People, so it's a caring touch as opposed to any sort of deep pressure massage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very gentle. So I was just looking again in the comments, Sandra, from Verna Alderley. It says she works as you know her,
Yes.
She works as an SEN in school and uses story massage 4 times a week, and all the pupils love it. The pupils are autistic children, so I felt I needed to add visual resources, and I found myself in so many different costumes.
I know. She's known in our community as being very creative.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that if people are seriously thinking about adding this into their work, anyone who trains with us can join our closed Facebook group, which is called the Story Massage Community Group. And we have over 700 trained practitioners who share, ask questions, share advice, share stories. And it's a very supportive community. So if you're coming into it as a newly trained practitioner, there's all those people with their experiences so far to help and guide you. So it's that's been one of the best things that we feel the Story Massage program can contribute to the community to share the work.
It is a good community. I'm a member, so yeah, it's really good. But no, that's brilliant. I think we've covered a lot of things now. Did you want to do anything else or add anything else for
I hope that gives everybody an idea of the wonders of story massage.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I think it's hard. I mean, you could talk about it all day, really. I mean, if you do become an instructor, it's how long is the training again, Sandra?
Well, the online training now, we give an average of 12 to 18 hours, but people will do it on the weekend, or it's very flexible. It's 5 modules. People can take their time to do it. They have over 6 months if they feel that their commitments are such that they can't do it quickly. So, anything really from a weekend to 6 months, entirely up to you. Do it at your own pace in your own time. Yeah,
so the training initially, and as with every training, I always say you start learning once you get out there and work in it. But training itself is a number of hours. So to be able to get everything in, we've been on nearly an hour now, which is fantastic. Yeah. But to try and get everything over in an hour is quite difficult. I think we've got over a good proportion of the main points and given people a taste of what Story Massage is about and an idea of the wonderful ways, endless ways in which it can be used, and the people it can benefit. It's endless. It can be worked with anybody. And it's excellent. I'm sure when I finish this, I'll remember something else I wanted to talk about.
Well, if you or anyone else want to ask anything, just get in touch. We'll be happy to get back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we'll have you on again sometime in the future, because obviously, in time, people might need reminding again about Story Massage, and you get a different audience. And so it was been brilliant to have you anyway. And just quickly about your training, just going back to your training quickly, Sandra, will you be going back into in-person training again in the future in classroom environments, or is it all going to stay online?
We've never trained in classroom environments. The face-to-face training was small group trainings, which I think it's unlikely we'll do given the the circumstances, and given the success of the online training. People have really enjoyed the online training. It suits so many people being able to do it, outside their working hours, in their own homes, at the pace that they can do, rather than needing to come up from a school, having to travel, stay overnight. There were lots of disadvantages for both individuals and employers about face-to-face training, which have actually been overcome with the online training. So for now, certainly that's the way it's going to be. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right. So Ruby and Toby and Kim and Joseph, do you have anything else to add, or?
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Well,
thank
you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It was enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we ever do it again in the future, will you come back again?
Yes.
Yeah, you're brilliant. You're made for TV. Yeah. Or online or being on air. So thank you. And then hopefully you'll practice this now regularly at home. Get your mums to sit down with you and practice Story Massage.
I do it when we're watching some TV sometimes. Mummy does it on my back.
Great.
That's brilliant. That's really good.
You do?
Yeah, you do it to me then, don't you, on my back? Yeah.
Good.
No, it's lovely to have it done, isn't it? It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. But anyway, it's been lovely to have you all here. And Sandra, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us all about Story Massage. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I have. I love to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I like to talk about it too. So it's really good. So
it's a very positive thing.
It's very positive. So I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody watching. If you're watching live, thank you for watching. And if you're watching on Catch Up, I hope you enjoy it. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. And I hope you all have a lovely day. And we're all saying goodbye now from Talking Cafes. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.